Good evening, everybody. So today I finished my roof rack. I think it turned out nice. Some things did change from what I thought, would be the design to what it actually turned out to be, but I'm really happy with it. And I kind of want to explain, I had a few different comments and I wanted to explain why I built this and some other things. So first of all, the reason why is probably one of the most important ones. Sam and I are planning on getting a new camper this year, very shortly, actually. We've been looking and have a couple other models we want to look at, but we're looking at a nice hard-sided camper. Weight's a big thing, yada, yada, yada. But the ones we're looking at, they're going to be, 22 feet, probably at the smallest, up to 26, 28 feet. Well within the limits of the towing capacity of the truck. We're looking at some, I think they're called Premier brand, down to Jayco's, whatever, a bunch of different ones. But we want to do some serious camping. As you guys know, we love going to the North Shore. We, do duck hunting, deer hunting, and some of the stuff, luxuries, if you will, like duck hunting, for instance. We're up there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and there's no shower, there's no running water, there's nothing like that. And I like roughing it as much as anybody else, but there's something that's nice about you come in stinking like a campfire, and especially duck hunting, it's either raining or you smell like wood smoke all the time. It would be nice just to take a shower, even if it was just a quick shower. So, and then you set your thermostat, and that's all good, and you have a nice place to lounge, because like duck hunting, there's a lot of downtime. A lot of times it's raining. Deer hunting, downtime. A lot of times it's cold and windy, and last year it was really snowy. So stuff like that has really got us interested, and we want to go to the North Shore, to some of these campgrounds and all that national forest. You can park up there anywhere, for the most part. And so we want to get the camper, a small 2,000 watt Jenny, so we can have our lights and stuff like that, and have a fun time. But with all that being said, I want to do a lot of fishing when we go to the North Shore, and I need the ability to carry my canoe along with my kayak. See, I got my kayak. Sam and I are actually looking into kayaks as well. We just started talking about it today, but the canoe is what I love to fish out of. And putting it on the camper, that's great, but the camper's probably 10 to 11 feet tall. And when I park and I unhook from the camper, I would have to take the canoe off and somehow fit it into the bed of my truck. I got a 17.5-foot canoe, so that's going to hang out like 11 feet out of the back of my bed. So if I have it already on there, right, then I just unhook and I can go wherever I want. Even if it's a mile, 2 miles, 10 miles away, it's just ready to go. So that's kind of the premise behind that. And, a kayak, yeah, I could throw a kayak in the bed just fine. But to get it up and out, so I have usable bed storage, and then, usable above bed storage. Now, some might say, well, why don't you just get a ladder rack, a steel one? Well, some of them have rails that go right here and they bolt in, and they're very permanent. And that's one thing I didn't want. I didn't want anything super permanent, because I can't, I'll be the first to admit, this is not the most handsomest looking contraption ever. Even a ladder rack, for most people, is like, yeah, it's kind of ugly. And I didn't want to drill holes in the rails or whatever, and I just didn't want that. So this slides in, slides out, takes, literally seconds. Look at two straps. You're good to go. It's super sturdy. Like, the whole truck moves when I move it, and should be very versatile. So you could throw a tarp over it, and if it's raining or whatever, throw a tarp over it. Not a big deal. Or pull it all out and roll the tonneau cover back up. So there's a lot of different options. One video that really swayed me away from that was an individual had if you looked it up, you'd find it. It was like a newer F-150, and he had the ladder rack that goes into the stake pockets. Well, he accidentally hit a branch, and it peeled back this whole top. And I think that would happen on most trucks. He had one of those aluminum body Fords, but I think all of these trucks, they're not super heavy. It would peeled it back, I don't know, that far. And was a very inconvenient thing for him. They don't fix that, you know. So with this, if I hit a branch, the wood's probably going to be the weak point. Or worst comes to worst, it yanks this whole contraption out of my bed and breaks off these little toe points, but I honestly think that the strap would break before those. So that's kind of another thing as well. So that's kind of the reasons behind it. Obviously, I have no way of knowing how heavy duty this thing really is until I pull a canoe out, I throw a canoe on top, and I go for a drive down the highway. Because if you've ever had a canoe above your vehicle, it's, you know, it moves. There's a lot of wind. So I got to make sure that it's okay for that as well. But that's kind of my premise behind it. This is what it looks like. We got kind of a double header, if you will. And that wasn't really intentional. I didn't actually, at first, I wasn't going to put the top one on there. But I did, just so I have these nice eyelets that are in there. And then that's bolted very securely, and then the bottoms have double carriage bolts, which really locks them up tight. The sides have the double carriage bolts as well, and she's very, very sturdy. And there's multiple uses for this. I can take it out and actually put a canoe on it and use this almost like a set of sawhorses if I need to work on the canoe or store the canoe. The ladder in the background there. If I need to go and trim some trees at, you know, my grandparents or my mom's or whatever, throw the ladder on top, no big deal. So there is a lot of utility type work that you can do with one of these. And another thing, someone said, well, you work with steel all day, why don't you build one? Well, steel's very expensive. Even if it was 1-inch square tubing or round tubing, it's about $2 a foot. So we got 6, 12... You need 2 on the bottom, 18, 24, and then 4-foot piece there, 4-foot piece there. That's a 32, 40, and then you'd have to put angle braces in there too to keep everything good. So we'll just say another 4 feet of that. So 44 feet. What's 44 feet times square tubings? More than $2 a foot. So you know, you'd want it pretty heavy. So with that being said, this was under $50. $50. And if you were to build one, you might have some 2x laying around. But I think my phone's about to die, so I'm going to let you guys go. But I hope you enjoyed this. You can kind of see it. I'll get into more detail another day about what's going on up here. This will all be figured out shortly. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.